Lost my mind, now I'm feeling so fine, cause I finally realized I don't need you. I'm feeling sublime, and you're watching me shine, and you realize it's time I don't need you.
So how's it going, Imani? It has been so long. I haven't seen you face to face. We've spoken, but we definitely have not been face to face. I'm behind the screen hider, so you know. Ew.
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to have us begin podcast recording again. I know we talked about this a few episodes back, but it feels like a nice little retreat where you get to just be yourself and review. We talk about how often there's not that many spaces to be able to review. So I hope those listening feel like this is a retreat where they're listening to people who understand them and just get it. Because that's how I feel every time we record.
Yeah, I mean, like after our year hiatus, because it literally has truly, honestly, and it's crazy because it's really been like a full year, like a full year almost to the day.
Wow.
Like the last day that we were supposed to record was like February 6th, or was like a Wednesday before Super Bowl. And here we are the Wednesday before Super Bowl. Is that not crazy?
No. That's how God is full circle.
That's how God works. That's how God works, baby. We're supposed to be back. We have officially launched. We are available on Spotify and Anchor. And we're doing it this year. There will not be any interruptions. We don't care what happens. We're going to keep recording. We're going to keep posting the podcast. So we will be here this year and we are going to do this. How did your year go? How was 2021? In the beginning of the podcast, we talked about a lot of goal planning and things like that. And we were working on our goals. We were creating our goals for the year. We were breaking them down monthly, quarterly, weekly. We were adding tasks. But then we got a little off track. I had a few things happen in my personal life. I had things kind of stop me from where I could record at. And had some things come back into my life that stopped me, and everything is gone now. So we're back. We're focused, not letting anything stop me this year. I really had a full reflection of how long a lot of the things that I've been working on have just sat. And sometimes things have to sit. That my baby needed to bake. You know what I mean? I needed that 9 months. My 9 months was a couple years, but it's cool. That baby's ready to be born now. So I think the year went pretty well. We had words last year. We had words of the year. Before we even go into the words of the year, how was your year, Imani? How did everything just go? Like, how was 2021 for you?
I can relate a lot to what you said because I feel like last year was such a cleansing year. I feel like in order to step into the new, you're always tested and you always come face to face with what you're familiar with and maybe what you've come to rely on, just all those different things. And I felt like last year was a year where God said, well, you said you're this type of person. You said you want to do these things. Let me see. Like, are you going to be easily distracted? Are you going to be focused? How are you going to handle life when it comes at you? Because, thank God we still have life, but it's going to keep coming at us. That's not going to stop. So I definitely feel like it was a cleansing year. It was a time of just refocusing on what I stand for, who I want to be, and how much I really am chasing after her, like I say I am. So, one of the things that I wanted to do was I was praying and submitting to purchase a home, and we're actually recording in that home. So I think like
2021
yes. And it's just so great because the cleansing and pruning process is always really painful and really uncomfortable. You're doing new things. That's always scary, but to be sitting in the aftermath of that is just phenomenal. So I'm kind of excited to see what's going to be next. I think it was good. I'm glad I had you to pull through whether we were recording or not. I'm certainly glad for our relationship because it's a doozy.
Well, let's talk about our words of the year. We both have words of the year. I believe we discussed them in episode 2. My word was finish, and I will tell you how I feel about that. And Imani's word, she actually had phrases. They were don't doubt yourself and jump into what you want to do. How do you think that went, Imani? Like, how did that go in 2021? Did you execute that, or did you put it to the side? And if you did execute it, how did that help you along the way?
I mean, I'm trying not to cry when I think about like the past year and just really pushing myself. One thing I just kept thinking about is how it's like I was telling myself, what living safe looks like, because living safe looks like your life so far. So let's try something different. And every time you feel that urge to just be comfortable and sit down and do what you've done that was working for you, right? And some of the things we do aren't necessarily bad. They're doing the job, but you already know what that looks like. So if you want something different, push yourself, jump in and trust that you'll be able to figure it out as you go. Like something's going to work out the way things always do. And so for don't doubt myself and jump into what I want to do, I've been in a support role in education for a long time. And I've been feeling like, I could do the things I'm supporting teachers in, I could do. And I'm sitting here now like as an official teacher, and I'm so glad that I didn't listen to little voices in my head. And I've been, whether it's like career or speaking up for myself, I think last year I found my voice, but this year I'm trying to use it because there's a difference there. So I just think that, I might need to calm down with all the jumping into what I want to do.
Never.
At this point, now, what's my next hurdle? What's the next challenge? I definitely think it. I think that it was great to live it, but I think that one of the keys was articulating it. Sometimes we feel pushed to do something, but if you don't say it and kind of have the action to back that up, I think it's hard to really follow. I could have been feeling like, oh, you could do more, but it's hard to create a plan behind you could do more. But jump into the things where you're doubting yourself, automatically you can see where you're doubting yourself and where you probably need to jump in. So I think articulate that phrase with you last year was critical, because then you can work backwards from that and from that image of what that phrase looks like.
How I feel about my word? Well, when I spoke about the word in the episode, I spoke about finishing my businesses, and I spoke about finishing the things that I have already started. My word was finish. It was not used how I thought it was going to be used. What was finished was a lot of crap in my life. A lot of stuff came to an end, and job came to an end, and it was a job, but it was a 9-to-5 job. And that's fine. I tell people all the time, you work 9 to 5 and you work on your craft also. However, I left corporate America in 2016. So I started a 9-to-5 job pretty much to keep me afloat, coming out of being homeless and things like that. And it was a way to be comfortable and be comfortable in paying my bills and things like that. And I started to come to terms at the end of the year that it was enough. You know what I mean? And that I really needed to work on the things that I already have been working on, and I needed to fully focus on those things. The one thing I will say is, for all the things that I finished and that I left in 2021, I feel at peace. I feel at peace. I feel that the season for those things were over. And honestly, like, I have literally been blessed step by step on everything that I've had to do, everything that I've had to get done. And honestly, I'm grateful. My word was finished, and I didn't use it the way I thought it was going to be used, but we did finish a whole lot of things, and God had a different plan than I did. So that was cool. That was cool.
Absolutely.
So our topic this week is our story. We wanted to put a little personal touch as to who we are and what we have going on. And so that way you know who me and Imani are. Like we told you in the first episode, we've been friends for over 10 years. We do have a maybe a 10-year age gap, something like that. And our relationship is nurturing to each other. Me personally, I am from Plainfield, New Jersey. Not born and raised, born in New York, raised in Plainfield. Wasn't the best student, was a decent student in school. I applied myself more in college. When I went to college, graduated from college, I ended up graduating magna cum laude. I started my accounting business straight out of high school under my parents. Both of my parents are accountants. And I've been doing accounting for over 20 years. I've been in the business probably for close to 30 years. I am dedicated to helping people. A long time ago, in everything that I've done, really growing up, high school, it's always been about helping people for me. That's where I get that's what makes me feel good. Those are the times that I'm like, ooh, that's great. Or if I can help somebody do something or aspire to a dream that they want to aspire to. And in 2013, I lost a few people close to me. And I kind of started to go on a self journey of who is Brooke, what is Brooke doing, and am I fulfilling my purpose in my everyday life? I realized that my purpose was helping people as I reflected on the things that I've done and the things that made me happy. And I started to develop my businesses around that, around helping people. So that way, anything that I would develop to make money or to, be lucrative would also meet the need of helping people, because it wasn't going to make me happy if I didn't help people at the end of the day. And that's on both sides. Sometimes it's on it's as clients, and sometimes it's as on a partnership level. I am a laborer. I'm in the construction industry. I have a kids Uber company. I started that a couple years ago, and I'm in the process of reopening that. I have 2 boys, one in college. And it's really all about family. It's really all about family, helping people, and everything that I've done, that's where my focus is. I did have, had hard times in school as everybody did. But one thing that I can always remember is it was never about what I had going on. Like there would be things that I had going on, and I would always put myself or my feelings to the side to make sure that somebody else wasn't going through that same thing. And sometimes maybe it was because I would have loved for somebody to do that for me. You know what I mean? But I always made sure that I did that for somebody else. And that made me feel good. That made my day, regardless. And that was since my school days. So that's who Brooke is. Now who's Imani?
Yes. Brooke, I feel like I'm in the middle of unlearning Imani, if you will, because I think that I it's like my life has been characterized by this vision of who she is, and everything I did academically, everything relationally, everything in every area of life, even spiritually, was toward that goal. And when you're when you're a student, it's all about what you're going to achieve, what you're going to do, what you're going to do next. When are you going to be like this? When are you going to, make this amount? And where are you going to live? Are you going to move? Are you going to be a mom someday? It's all about kind of checking off those boxes. And in having to take a break from, I wouldn't call it achievement because I was achieving things as a new mom, but having to take a break from what I viewed as achievement and what I viewed as growth to grow in another area and really focus on that caused me to really evaluate not whether or not I have the gifts that I was using in a past season, but to ask myself whether that's all I have or whether that's all I have to contribute and look for the beauty in my current season. So I feel that I'm really discovering who I am, and I'm casting off all the beliefs that really weigh on me. Sometimes you believe things for so long, you don't realize how heavy those beliefs are, or even how impossible those standards are. You just know that that's what you've heard or that's what you've told yourself to do. So I've been unlearning what things don't serve me. I've been holding fast to the things I notice are good for me. And for the first time, I think I've been open to exploring new things and trying new things. So many different areas, like physically how I look and dress and routines and schedules. And just I'm really getting back in touch with who I was as an individual before I was a walking cow nursing a baby all the time. Um, Now I have a kindergartner and a 3-year-old.
Okay. So we had a little error. Put back to it. Imani, your story is excellent. And the reason why I say that is because I am about 10 years older than you. And I pretty much started on my path to pretty much kind of finding myself 10 years ago. It was a lot of unlearning and relearning. My unlearning was unlearning the things that I had been taught in life, like the standard judgments and the standard biases that everybody gets put into them as they grow up based on their parents' beliefs or their guardians' beliefs or the people that they're around's beliefs and things like that. So to me, you're right where you should be. As far as, finding who you are. And honestly, that's great. Some people at your age aren't there. Some people at my age aren't even there. So it's a great thing to even acknowledge that, you know what, I'm going to open myself up to some new things and things like that. A big part of me moving to North Carolina was just that. Like, I didn't want to be around anybody that I grew up with. It wasn't personal. It wasn't, anything like that. It was just more like, I just can't. I'm grateful for my steps. How do you think your life or your story has affected who you are today?
I thank you for your response, because it's so validating, especially in a world where you're surrounded by people who quote unquote have it all together and are sure of where they're going or sure of what they're doing, or at least they seem that way. One of my favorite quotes is that adults seemed a lot more adultier when I was a kid.
Isn't that so true?
Yes. But especially like in the age of social media and online and TV, and you look at recording artists and they're a decade younger than you and like a couple $1 million richer. It's really great to have people in your circle who validate you and have experience that they can say, oh yeah, that sounds about right. So thank you for that. I can draw from that if ever I get to the point where I'm like, I don't know who I am. I should be further along. So I'm grateful for that. And the way that I believe it has affected my life today is, I think in the past year, I've been learning to own where I am. I think many people in our world are in certain stages of life, but they feel uncomfortable, or they feel the need to perform, or they feel the need to just put on a persona that is not actually matching where they're at. And my impact this year has been when you believe in yourself and when you're confident in where you are, it's like it has more power behind your push. When you push yourself to achieve a goal, you can do so because you're standing, my friend says, flat-footed, firm, 10 toes down, in that direction. Whereas, using an analogy of kind of like a toddler holding a bag, right? I give my toddlers a bag to hold all the time. They like to hold it by the pinky, hold one handle of it. It's two handles on there. They like to hold one handle, drag it along the floor and all that kind of stuff. But, if you hold a bag with one hand and drag it along the floor, it's going to develop a hole. If you push your wagon with one hand half-heartedly, you're not going to have control over it. But if you push it with two, you see the momentum being completely different. And I think this happened with my life, where I can half-heartedly and inconsistently go after my goals, but the likelihood of reaching them is slim to none. And also, like, you don't want to reach a goal and do a crappy job when you reach it and all that stuff. So I think that between wanting to reach goals and wanting to produce work and produce a life that I'm proud of, I think just becoming confident in where I am and saying, I'm learning, I'm still discovering, but I'm going to allow that to push me to explore as opposed to push me to hide and diminish and shrink because it seems uncertain and vulnerable. I think that shift, that mindset shift from let it push you to do more as opposed to less, has really changed my life in ways that I never thought possible. And also, I think I love myself more. You're stuck with yourself all the time, so you don't think too much about, do I really love who I am, my flaws? Have I learned to accept and find beauty and lessons in my past? And am I looking forward to the future? Like, those types of things are questions that we don't always answer because we're just working, and just wearing our many hats. But standing firm in the direction that my life is in, not in a way that fears the future, but in one that just embraces it and says, you know what, Imani, I believe in you enough to know that whatever is to come, you'll be able to handle that too, has really been a confidence booster for me. and helped me to just really love and embrace myself and all the beauty and all the ugly. And I never realized it was something that I'm missing, or that I was missing. So I'm so excited to be in that space.
God got me, plant his seeds, let me breathe, cause I need him. Stay faithful, not hateful, I'm playful, cause he got me. He called me his angel, I'm flying to heaven. Just know that he sent me from heaven to flex you.